866-300-9298. We are going to get to the phones. Before I do that, I was talking about what is happening here with the president's new agenda, his mission, the national mission, as he called it, for equality, so that this thriving recovery will not leave anybody behind. A little late for that. But this is going to be his effort. Now, if he wants to say it's his mission, that's fine. I don't know where he got the national mission thing. I don't remember that ever happening. Marco Rubio said this. Go ahead, Devin.
Well, the president's focused on income inequality, the difference between the rich and the poor and the gap that's grown. That's the wrong focus. It doesn't give you a complete picture. The president's proposal for dealing with this problem is raising the minimum wage and taxing rich people. That's a solution to what he called the defining issue of our time. That's not a solution. That's the same tired, stale rhetoric and policies that have failed for 50 years.
Well, and it's exactly right. I mean, it is the same policies that have failed for many, many years. And yet the idea here is for the government. The idea from President Obama, by the way, is for the government to create this income equality. Well, let's just tax the rich so much that they stop wanting to be rich. Because after all that does is create more growth for whatever the industry that the rich are in, which creates jobs. And we're not caring about jobs. Let's just make sure that we disincentivize the rich from wanting to be rich. It's not fair. Why should they be? And to raise the wages, not worry again about family values, not worried about work ethics that are instilled, not worried about competition in the job market. See, when you create jobs and you get to a place of full employment, the reason that Americans were prospering across every income bracket during the 90s was there was an unemployment rate of under 4% by the end of that decade. In other words, it gives the employee, it doesn't matter what you're doing. It doesn't matter whether you're digging a trench or whether you're working in a white collar environment. It's irrelevant. What it does is it takes workers out of the workforce, which makes your job more important to your employer. When that happens, it gives the employee some negotiating power. It gives the employees opportunity to say, hey, no big deal. You can't help me out. I will move to another company because people are dying for people with my skills, whatever it might be, whether it's being a carpenter or a scientist, there was a need and a demand. But see, we have seen deflation of wages for the last 20 years because of that demand not being there. The ticket to everything is creating jobs. It's no more than that. If you saw on my Facebook page, I put out a list of 32 candidates that the GOP has put out for president. Now, there's only 9 of them there that would ever make my list, as far as I'm concerned. There's 11 of them that I counted that would never even come close to making my list. So you take a look. I'm not going to tell you who my 9 are, but you'd be surprised probably of who they're not. So it's interesting to see. You might be surprised about who they are, too. But they're not. They're the people. If you can go through the list and think about backbone, you'll probably figure out who the 9 are. Marco Rubio is not on my list, and neither is Paul Ryan, believe it or not. So we don't need the same old, same old. We don't need anybody that's been in Washington. We need some governors. We need people that understand common sense and understand what it takes to surround themselves with people that are good leaders. We need true, real leaders, people that want to lead, that know how to lead, that were born to lead. We don't need pretend leaders. We've got so many pretend leaders now. That's the problem. We don't need any of that. We need people that truly know how to lead, that have been in leadership positions, that have proven themselves. If you waver constantly, you're not a leader. If you compromise on occasion, you're a leader. We need men and women that are willing to lead and do what it takes to lead. 866-300-9298. Let me go to Susan. Susan calling us from Michigan. Hi, Susan.
Hey, fired up, Dan. How are you?
Yes, I'm fired up. How are you?
You are such a blessing.
Oh, thank you.
Praying for you and your ministry, your family. Really appreciate you, Dan.
Thank you so much.
Listen, I had a question last week on your rerun program on Friday, and I'd heard it before, about American funds.
Yes.
You said that would not be a good thing to be into
Yes.
because of where they stand on issues. And you also don't mention the word Ameriprise in there. Are they one and the same?
No, they are not.
Okay.
They're not. No,
I kind of got lost, and you've seen our situation here. Don't know if you remember me, doesn't matter, but nothing was said about the American funds, and I wondered if you can help me out with that.
Well, so Ameriprise is a company that is a seller of annuity products.
Okay.
They don't have their own mutual fund.
All right.
So they do what most annuity companies, insurance companies do, is they make agreements with mutual fund companies to include their mutual funds within their products as options. So what it means, Susan, is that so now American Funds does not do that out of the kindness of their heart. They do it because they're going to get a fee.
Okay.
So if you put the same amount of money in the same funds that you have in your annuity, you're going to do better, because the American funds, or any fund company, is charging a fee to the insurance company, and then the insurance company is charging a fee. That's how they make money. And there's a fee coming out of that, and that's coming right off the top, right off the performance. So
what we have is we have, my husband and I each have a Roth IRA through our investment person.
Mm-hmm.
There's not much in it, like 2,000 in one and 500 in another, but in our with our accountant, which my husband, his former job, he used to have money going into there every week, and the company matched, and he's just changing jobs. So we have about 26,000 in that. It's called a Custom Simple IRA, but it's I just wasn't sure exactly how to deal with these now.
Is it so?
With the Roth, could we put that? Would there be a penalty to take that money from the American Fund, the Roth IRA, and put those two Roths in a bank? If we just had it transferred?
Is it within Ameriprise? Is it within an annuity?
No, you know what you said, but to this lady that called, and it was on a rerun program on Friday. When you cut to a commercial, you came back and you used the word Ameriprise, and I thought, I wonder if he meant to say American Fund.
Oh, yeah, I probably did.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
but
I probably did.
Specifically, you started with, she said American Funds, and you went, yeah, I wouldn't do that.
Okay,
So,
okay. Yeah, so if you wanted to change that, if you wanted to move it, there shouldn't be any cost associated with that. American funds are front-end loaded funds.
Okay.
So that means when you went into that, you did pay a sales charge of about 4.5% to 5%.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, when you went in. So there is no, there is no charge now to move it out of there if that's something you want to do and roll it over into a different Roth IRA account or a different simple account for your husband. So is your husband self-employed?
No, he just he's been blessed with a new job, and so we don't have we aren't putting into this. Just all happened in a whirlwind, and he does not have any matching funds now. Nothing will be going into this simple IRA.
Gotcha.
And I didn't know if we should just leave it there, but we'll have extra income to do something with.
Yeah. I would, and does your husband's new job offer a retirement, a 401k or something like that?
No, they don't. They have, other incentives, but they won't have this.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it seems to me that I think I would move it. I don't, and start thinking about now that, he's got this new job, that maybe you'll have some discretionary income that you can start putting away in an IRA account. You can take the simple and roll it over into a Roth, just a regular old Roth IRA account, and then begin to contribute, your out of your checking account every payday, whatever you want to do there,
Right.
so that it's going in there automatically. So that would make a lot of sense. And you've got two options, Susan. You can open up an account at a brokerage, a TD Ameritrade or something like that, where you'd open up just a regular old brokerage account. Or you can go to Timothy Plan if you want to stay in mutual funds. I don't recommend any mutual funds, that, except for Timothy, just from a biblical perspective.
Right. That's what we already have
Okay.
that too.
So that might be a better option for you. Establish, maybe two of their funds and just, put money in on a regular basis.
Okay. Which Timothy Plan would you put that in, Dan?
I would probably right now.
We're 66 and 68.
Yeah. Okay. So, I would look at, they have a you're talking about a Roth IRA, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I would probably look at their conservative growth fund. I mean, it didn't set the world on fire, but it's conservative growth. It has it has some defensive kind of strategies within that. And I'm not, I think there's a possibility by the middle of next year that I may consider their fixed income fund. But, all fixed income, all bond mutual funds, I'm not big on being in right now. Mm-hmm. But I would consider contributing on a regular basis their conservative growth fund.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay, we can do that.
Thanks, Susan. We're coming to Michigan. I'm coming to Michigan here soon. I don't know when.
I'm waiting. The hair on the back of my neck just stood up. When is it, Dan?
Yeah, I don't know.
And where?
I don't know. Check the website. I don't know where. I don't know when, but it's on the website.
Okay.
Where we're coming. So, and I'm not even sure. It may be April. I don't know, but we're coming and we're going to do a town hall meeting. We'll have a great time. So I hope you'll come out.
We're looking forward to seeing you, Dan. God bless you.
Thank you, Susan. I appreciate it.
Oh.
Let me go to Claudia from Texas. Hey, Claudia.
Hey, Dan. I'm calling because I have some investment, and I used to work at this job, and I'm no longer there. And I was calling because I needed some money at one time, and I called Fidelity, and they said that part of it, that I couldn't cash it in because part of it's been something that I would have to change to something else.
Yeah, it was a company IRA or a company
401.
401, and you're not with the company any longer?
No.
And did you so it's still there though? You haven't changed it. It's still at Fidelity?
No, yes it is. I got the report the other day. That's why I decided to call so I could tell you what it is. And maybe you could tell me what.
Yeah, what is it that you can't? Is it an annuity?
Okay, no, it's a stock fund, the company stock fund, and then I have something called Fid Freedom K 2025, blended fund investments and stock investments.
Mm-hmm. Well, there shouldn't be any issue with any of that. I'm not sure what the issue was, other than, are you 59 and a half?
No, I'm 56.
There might have been, an issue because of the penalty, that you would have, incurred a penalty of 10% by withdrawing any of that money.
That wasn't. I didn't care because I just needed money, and they, when you get your back up against the wall, that's all. Right.
So, there's no reason, Claudia, that I can see that you shouldn't be able to do whatever you want with that account. Anything you take, make sure you remember you got to pay tax on it. You're going to have to pay that penalty. But all of that money should be accessible to you. Now, with the exception of the company stock, because the company stock may have some sort of restriction on it when you went into it. And that's a possibility, because the company can dictate that when they offer it in the 401k.
Yes, and that's the majority of the stock.
Okay. So there may be some issues around the company stock. I would call and say you would like to liquidate, or you want to get some of that money from the company stock and sell it. And they say you can't say why and when can I. So at least ask those two questions, and you should be able to get some input from them as to why and when.
So call the company and find out?
No. I would call Fidelity first and see what they say. And then I would, they may tell you, well, you're going to have to call Human Resources to find that out. But it's a Fidelity plan they have. They should be able to tell you why that is.
Okay.
On the company stock.
They have told me why, but I didn't understand it. It was just a shock to me that I couldn't liquidate.
Yeah, there might be some sort of schedule that once you leave employment, you might have to wait a certain period of time. Maybe there is a stipulation that it cannot be, cashed out until you're 62 or 65 or something like that. But there is a reason, and at least you can find out what the specific is so you can know when you can get it or have access to it. So I would call Fidelity and tell them you want to know why and when will that be over so that I can get it. Thank you, Claudia. Financial Issues, I'm Dan Celia, 866-300-9298. We'll be right back.